right, head of the Nevada caucuses, or Nevada caucus. They get very many to say Nevada. It's Nevada, and I apologize for that. We have Robin Leach. He is in Las Vegas on the caucuses tonight. He has one of the best reads of that town and maybe that state, anyone I know, and he's always a great fun to have. Robin, good to have you, my friend. How you doing?
Good to see you, Neil.
You know, we always pay attention to caucuses, but in the case of Nevada, they're a little confusing, even more so than Iowa. In I guess Nevada's case, folks have to have registered at least 10 days ago. You just can't walk in, right?
Correct, but it's also, I think, the confusion is Neil, to be honest, is this is all new here. I think this is like the second party, the second go-round. Everything in Las Vegas is a party. So caucus is tonight. They'll be drinking, they'll be playing cards, they'll be gambling. But it's only the second time I think we've had a caucus in. So they're still trying to find out how to spell the word and understand what it means. Yeah,
and for Republicans, last go around, all the names they've tried, they've lost. So it's like starting from scratch for these campaigns to get them. How important is it for them to have their ground game in order and have their people come out? Because we're told the enthusiasm is there for Donald Trump, but his legions of fans might not know how this works because apparently it's very different than Iowa.
Well, of course, Nevada is completely different from Iowa, which is a real bellwether state when it comes to determining presidential nominees. It's all new here in Las Vegas, and Donald seems to be the only one that's really making a noise. Last night at the South Point Horse Arena, he had almost 10,000 enthusiastic fans. It was like a rock concert.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, this is unheard of here. So I don't know that many of the 10,000 he had last night will be actually at the caucuses this evening. You've got a very long night ahead of you because they don't close until 11 p.m. East Coast time.
Thanks for reminding me of that, Robin. I appreciate that. But you're right.
you must stay up late tonight, Neil. Bring people the news.
You know, it's interesting. One of the things he's been doing, Robin, and I always think back to your days, the lifestyles of rich and famous, is that he wants to bring that back. That he's the embodiment of the American dream, and there's nothing wrong with wealth. There's nothing wrong with resenting paying a lot of that wealth in taxes. He just said the other day, I try to pay the least amount of taxes I humanly can. And he's not been punished at the polls for that, far from it. What do you make of that, embracing, I guess, the 80s again?
I think Donald would be very happy if the 80s came back. You know, he was a Gatsby of his time when you think about it, although he wasn't as flamboyant in rocking and rolling and partying as Jay Gatsby was. But Donald did always say there was nothing wrong in being wealthy, and he used wealth as a way to encourage the message of wealth, to encourage everybody that if you work hard and you play hard and you are dedicated and diligent, you can succeed. Making money in that strata of Trump land is like, you know, keeping score in a ping pong game. The first one to 21 billion wins. Donald is all for having fun at the same time as working hard. So he'd love to see the 80s come back.
Yeah, you've interviewed and talked to so many bigger-than-life characters, and I'm thinking whether we in the United States are hungering for that ourselves, and whether Donald Trump is a representation of that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's an astute point you're making and observing. Look, last night at the Horse Arena, Phil Ruffin was there. Phil Ruffin is a big friend of Donald Trump. He's a rival hotelier here in Las Vegas. He comes from very successful businesses in the Midwest, in Kansas, and you're going to see people like Phil Ruffin and T. Boone Pickens being nominated to the Trump cabinet. It's going to happen. I think Donald may be the first candidate ever to announce his cabinet before the nomination at the convention.
You could be
I'm
right.
serious.
No, I think you could be right on that. I'd be remiss, not knowing your heritage, what you make of this dust-up in Britain now over exiting out of the euro. Prime Minister Cameron wants that put to the folks and wants obviously to be part of it. But the mayor of London is saying, no, it's not worth it. How big a divisive issue is this back home?
It's a big issue. It's been a big issue ever since Britain got into the European Common Market. My prediction is that Britain will vote to get out of it. It will exit. I think that the endorsement yesterday by Boris Johnson, the mayor of the City of London, was a big stamp of approval and at the same time a slap in the face to David Cameron.
Right.
Yeah, get out.
Interesting.
He wants out.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, Robin,
I don't think we need to be in the European Common Market anyway. We're an island, not part of a continent.
Well, you were never part of the currency, right? Just as you were kind of in the, you looked at the club from afar, but really weren't in it fully, right?
How could we take the Queen away from our pound notes? Please, I mean, that would be terrible.
Yeah, it would be like
some Frenchman with cheese and wine.
I had a feeling. I was waiting with a final Robin Leach singer. Robin, it's always a pleasure. You were ahead of a lot of these trends, my friend, long before Donald Trump emerged on the scene. Robin Leach in Las Vegas. We'll see what pans out hours from now. Stick around.